However, right now, I just want to emphasize how the data impact my day and how I structure my day in a way that I can incorporate physical movement in a way that supports my brain and health. Basically, after I finish that cognitive work bout, that 90-minute work bout, I do some form of physical exercise for about an hour. The data all point to the fact that working out hard for longer than an hour can actually be detrimental because of the way that it raises cortisol. And cortisol can be a good thing if it's appropriately timed and in the appropriate low levels, but you don't want to have your cortisol levels up throughout the day or have big spikes of cortisol repeatedly. So keeping workouts relatively short can definitely help with that. And certainly if you're training hard, 60 minutes or less should be more than sufficient. And for many people, including myself, 45 minutes or 50 minutes is probably even more optimal. The basic design of this physical exercise is that it be approximately 60 minutes, so maybe 60 plus or minus 15 minutes should be well within the margins of keeping hormonal health proper and not going too long, nor making the workout so short that it's not beneficial. And essentially what the data tell us is that in order to optimize cardiovascular and brain health and other systems of the body, we want to exercise at least 5 days per week. I know that seems like a lot. It certainly is a lot for certain people. Some of you compulsive exercisers, might gasp at the idea of taking 2 days off. I personally find that taking 2 full days off per week is actually both beneficial to my exercise training performance as well as pleasant. I like those rest days. But essentially the structure of the exercise regimen that works for sake of supporting health is going to be one in which there's a 3-to-2 ratio, where for a 12-week period or so, maybe 10 to 12 weeks, 3 of those 5 workouts per week emphasize strength and hypertrophy, and the other 2 emphasize endurance. Then, after 10 or 12 weeks, one switches over to a 10 or 12-week regimen of doing a 3-to-2 ratio where you're prioritizing endurance work. So primarily the sorts of workouts that are described in the endurance episode and those protocols. And the other 2 days, you're focusing on strength and hypertrophy work merely to maintain strength and hypertrophy, to not lose the strength and hypertrophy that you've created. And there are a lot of data now supporting the fact that maintaining muscular health and bone health is supported by resistance training, weight training of various kinds. It can also be done with body weight if you don't have access to equipment. And of course, that doing cardiovascular endurance work is very beneficial both to the muscles of the body, the organs of the body, but also to the brain. Many of you have probably heard that doing physical exercise of various kinds can support the production of new neurons in the brain. Frankly, those data are specific to research animals. As far as we know, increases in neuron number are not supported by exercise in humans. There's a little bit of data that supports that maybe a few neurons might get created by running or weightlifting or things of that sort in human beings. But there's still a host of other reasons to have this hour or so per day where one is doing physical exercise. What about the structure of the actual workouts? Well, we need to address this issue of intensity. A good rule of thumb based on the literature, and I discussed this with Dr. Andy Galpin prior to the strength and hypertrophy and endurance episodes, and the literature that's published in